over 2,500 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, Idaho, Illinois, Michigan, Montana, Oregon, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Welcome to Drinkin Bros, presented by OmahaSteaks.com. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin Bros, kids. Told you a couple weeks ago on the old program that we would get our good friend Angry Comps, a.k.a. Rich High, on the show to discuss his situation and the bombshell that he dropped a few weeks ago on the Unsubbed podcast. And he is here today.
Wait, no free ads.
Well, for who?
For Unsub. Fuck those guys.
No, they're fine.
No.
They're
Shut
fine,
up.
Yeah. You don't want any free ads for them? They're fine. It's like YouTubers with like 9 million followers apiece. I'm sure they're doing all right in this world here. We're fighting to just stay on air on YouTube, for Christ's sakes. However, we did sign a deal with Spotify, so that video will be available very shortly. And
you know,
entire back catalog.
I went to our page to navigate to this so I can look into the chat, and the first short we have listed on the front page was hot girls using a Down syndrome filter to get clicks.
Yes.
So that probably has something.
Too?
Yes.
Yeah.
We posted it.
That's that's definitely one of the reasons that we're not doing well on YouTube.
Whatever. But also, we are live on YouTube because we want this story to get out to as many people as possible. And we do Patreon on Wednesdays. However, this is a special instance. And Rich, we thank you for your time. We thank you for being here today. I'm sure since you dropped this story that it's been crazy for you. First of all, what was the immediate aftermath after you woke up the next day and realized what had happened, I guess?
Well, the video went live on Friday when I was at work.
Okay.
So my Eli texted me. He was like, hey, the video's up. And I was like, oh, cool. Can't wait to get home and see how it turns out. And then by the end of that night, it was already at like 300,000 views. And I was like, oh, this is kind of catching on. And, you know, the Buffalo school system, you know, they're not weekend workers, right? So, and the local news is kind of slow on the weekend too. You're waiting for the Monday morning kind of quarterback of all the entire situation to happen. And that's when it exploded. You know, the news came out with all their different hit pieces on me, not focusing on the schools or the kids or the issue that I brought up, but, you know, my troubled past per them. So yeah, that Monday was like an eye opener. It was like, oh, okay.
Wait, what's the troubling part of your past?
Yeah, what is it?
Oh, the troubling part?
Yeah, that you like feet?
Yeah, I guess so. No,
I've
been investigated for internal affairs complaints. So,
oh my God.
And the Attorney General, Letitia James, has a policy where if you get 5 complaints within 2 years, then the Attorney General's office will open up an investigation on you. So that happened. And after my internal affairs and the AG's office got involved, they were like, okay, Richard High should not say, come here, fat boy, to men who commit armed robberies. That's very unprofessional. And he needs to be careful about getting in car accidents. So that's my troubled past.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, because Letitia James herself is under investigation right now in that state. I want to make that clear. Your Attorney General is right now.
For actual crimes.
Yes.
Right.
Hers is involved in real estate fraud right now. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, that's calling people fat.
That's a true story. No, not for calling people fat. Actually, the thing that they were suing Trump for, turns out she actually did that in real life in the state of New York.
No.
I know. Wouldn't that be a shame if she goes to prison for it?
That would be a shame. I don't really consider her the AG of New York State. I call her the AG of New York City because anything else that happens in the state, she doesn't give a shit about. Case in point, she still hasn't picked up this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of that, Andrew Cuomo is leading all the polls for New York mayor.
You know what's weird is I understand it. I really do. Like in that city, Rich, and look, you've been there, I'm sure, a million times. It needs a gangster in there. Like it needs somebody who's kind of groping, kind of doing some back alley deals with cash, and somebody to come in and clean up that city was certainly Giuliani and even the Democrat. I'm blanking on his name. Bloomberg.
Bloomberg?
Yeah, Bloomberg. He had no problem doing that shit either. And I actually think right now, New York City probably needs a guy like Andrew Cuomo to clean up that fucking city. He looks like a character in The Penguin anyways. So yeah, why not? Why not? But we shared that clip with not only you on Unsub, exposing what was going on in the Buffalo school system. We also showed the clip the day after on this show of what the local news said about you and that show specifically. And what seemed odd to me was it didn't seem like they were concerned about the children at all. More or less that you guys were drinking and burping, and we can't prove any of this. However, we are going to air this story, which seemed weird without kind of fact-checking sources. Later on, somewhere last week, I believe, on a fake news show, another reporter from another local news station in Buffalo did come out and say that this guy had been arrested. And was this because of you? Who actually did that investigation? Was this guy already arrested? What was the determining factor in this guy going into jail?
Sure. So, yeah, that was one of the main stories that I kind of talked about during the Unsub episode that everybody got fired up about, was that there was a guy that had broken into a school, attempted to abduct 2 kids, got stopped. The school deleted video of the incident happening and didn't notify police about the second child, only one. And later on, when the district attorney's office had picked up the case and they were already moving forward with a grand jury, they got video from a school official who had the wherewithal to save a portion of the video and say, hey, listen, the school got rid of this, but I was able to save some. Here you go, district attorney's office. And then that district attorney, the assistant district attorney assigned to the case, looked through it and said, oh shit, there's a second kid. So I believe that those charges were already going to be going into effect for the second child. Now, whether or not they were going to be felonies, I'm not sure, because I know he was originally charged with, I think it was like an assault, some misdemeanor assault and like trespassing. Mm-hmm. But later on, after the onslaught of positivity from the internet, banging on, the district attorney's door and sending fax machines, sending faxes of just black paper to waste their ink. I think there was a motivation to take it a little bit more seriously and potentially add those charges. That could have been from me. That could have been from the community that lit a fire. Those could have already been in place because they received the video.
What, I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but what statutory requirements are there for public schools to save evidence like that? And is it a crime to delete that evidence?
So that's interesting. I'm not sure about that. I know that New York State has mandatory reporter laws. However, I'm not sure what the laws would be from a school's perspective, where they would have to, or how much they have to assist in an investigation. I can tell you that they're far from helping in them. They're not, really good at helping.
No, they're definitely not at all. And in my opinion, and this is an outsider looking in, I have no knowledge of this at all. I don't think if you would have done that story, we would have known about it.
No, I think that's exactly. I think you're right. I think what would have happened is the guy would have been charged maybe the exact same way that came out with the additional felonies. But I don't think anybody would have gotten, kind of the knowledge of what's going on behind closed doors in the schools that they have now.
And I think that's the key for me, at least, because I've got 3 kids, is the knowledge of this. If being a parent of 3 at 11, 6, and 2, if a school would have withheld this info from me, I would have burned it to the fucking ground, to be honest with you. And I've been to Buffalo numerous times. I've got a lot of friends that live there, and they're aggressive parents. Not only on and off the field or outside the stadium and everywhere else, but in real life. And a couple of them in particular, I'm sure, walked into these schools and said, what the fuck is going on there? But without you doing it, I don't know that this would have happened. I don't know that it would have gained the traction that it would. On the flip side, though, what do the police department say about this? Because to them, one would imagine it would be like, hey, Rich, thanks for throwing us under the fucking bus.
I'm sure that there are people that feel that way. Listen, I'm a realist. I know that I went on a podcast that has a lot of viewers, and I blurted out the best kept secret, or a well-known secret of the schools. So, once you start putting out everybody's business, people look at you funny like, hey, are you going to be talking about the stuff that we have private conversations about? No, I'm obviously not. This is a once in a lifetime kind of event where I had to stand up for these kids and say, hey, listen, the schools suck. The schools are the issue. The target is the schools. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of support from Buffalo coppers that have messaged me or come up to me in person and said, good job. But I've also noticed that there's a couple people that are side-eyeing me in the hallway, that aren't as talkative to me as they used to be.
I don't know how, as a father or a wife, depending upon if it's a man or woman working on the police force up there, who doesn't have kids or who has kids and doesn't look at that story and be like, oh shit, why didn't we do something if we knew about it or whatever? Which I think you're fine in that aspect. Probably the rest of them. Sure, they're probably pissed off about it. But what I said on this show is the shocking amounts that this is going on in cities all over the nation, not just Buffalo.
Yes.
And it's because they don't have the money or the budget to pay for these lawsuits. Therefore, they want to bury these stories because they don't want it to come out of taxpayer dollars to pay off these parents, to pay off these kids who are getting sexually assaulted around the country, because that's exactly what happens. None of these ever go to trial. They line up and you cut a big fat check and then you get out of there. However, a lot of these towns don't have the money to do that.
Yeah. If you want to see how bad it is and how it's not isolated to Buffalo, you can go to schoolsecurity.org and they have a pretty long list of exactly this same scenario happening, where schools are either non-compliant with existing rules and regulations or laws, even how they obfuscate information all the time, and this failure to be cooperative in any meaningful way as well. I mean, it's pretty rampant now.
Yeah, not only is it rampant, but these cases then go to the DA. I guarantee the DA is looking at these, and it's purely a financial thing. I bet he's looking at these cases, Rich, and just looking at the numbers going, shit, dude. All right, this one will cost us 8, this one will cost us 10, this one will cost us another 12. We're looking at $40 million here that we're going to have to pay out probably in some of these cases. And they're like, how do we hide these and how do we suppress these?
Well, I can tell you what. So New York Penal Code 215.40 makes it a crime to do what they did, which is willfully delete evidence that could be used even in a prospective case. And the standard for this sort of thing would be a reasonable person, right? That's how the standard in court of law works. If a reasonable person could have thought that information, that data, that piece of video or whatever it happens to be, that evidence could have been part of a potential criminal case in the future, it's a crime to delete it, period, right?
Yes.
Punishable by 1.5 to 4 years in prison, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I feel like maybe we should probably look into that. Maybe Letitia James should stop doing real estate crime and look into this.
She's got a lot going on right now. Even looking at her stats right now, I guess there's a slush fund of $10 million for her legal fees for this case that's coming up. I mean, we should have something for the children here at this point. Jesus Christ, if we're going to pay for her cases. But for you personally, I know Fat Electrician and those guys it appeared as if somebody was going to threaten them with a lawsuit. Is there any updates on that?
Oh, that was me.
That was
That was the guy. That was the legal representative for the schools, Bob. Bob's got bitch tits. And Bob's father was an amazing attorney, and Bob fell short of it. So he's riding on his name. And since Bob is, nowhere near the attorney that his father was, he went on some sort of interview with the news and made a statement stating that I should have gone through the proper channels that I hadn't, and I should have sent up some sort of memo to somebody and not gone about it the way that I have. Well, Bob, you idiot, what do you think I did? Obviously, being a whistleblower means that I've tried the other avenues of approach and things weren't moving quickly enough or getting the attention that they needed. So then I put it out on blast. Well, then he added in that, they're looking at possible litigation. And that's fine. They can look at litigation and sue me. They're going to have one hell of a slap lawsuit against them because everything that I've said is correct. I'm a public servant. So I mean, come at me. I'm ready. I'll get a slush fund going. I might just get as much as Letitia James.
Yeah, and I think we would all be down for that. So if something happens, let us know, and we'll be happy to share that GoFundMe. I mean, even if that white lady can call, somebody the N-word on a playground and get $600K, I think you could probably get a lot more for that. So
well, we can hope. This one's for the kids.
So is hers, some would say. But,
Oh, God.
What, Rich? There was children on a playground playing. That's all I'm saying, all right? But she got $600K for it. But I like the fat electrician's response here because he's saying, hey, bring on the lawsuits. We have sworn statements by teachers, other police officers and everything else. And if you want to come at us here. And how did he get that info? And how did you get this info to begin with?
So some of the cases that I discussed on the podcast are because I was alongside them during the investigation. They weren't mine, but they were investigations that were led by other detectives that I know or that I work with, or people in the district attorney's office that we work together, and I've heard about these other things that are going on. Some of them are my specific cases. So when it comes to, there's a case where there's child abuse. This girl goes into school on 2 separate occasions, tries to go to a counselor and say, hey, I've been abused. This counselor doesn't say anything about it, doesn't report it, doesn't call 911 or CPS. And then the third time this kid goes into school and she's beaten black and blue, well, now all of a sudden we have to take extreme measures. We got to remove the kid from the dad right away, which we should have done before. And then that's when I come in. So those are some of the specific instances that I've dealt with. Now, Nick, on the other hand, we started a Gmail account and a website. It's Take the High Road, HY, spelled like my last name, .com, takethehighroad@gmail.com. And we've had hundreds of emails from teachers, students that graduated, administrators, school nurses, and first responders that are like, hey, here's a specific incident of me going to this school in the city of Buffalo and having this amount of pushback or getting a lack of information or having somebody destroy evidence and remove it and then act like they don't know what's going on. So the groundswell of support and stories from the people in the city of Buffalo has been really what's been driving us in this. It's just confirmation that the stuff that I saw, the stuff that I saw was just a small percentage compared to the larger problem in the city of Buffalo school system.
Yeah, and I'm going to read you the statement from the Erie County District Attorney, Michael J. Keene here. If you haven't seen it, it was released a week ago, which, again, I find odd that this was released a week after you did that show and went on air. His statement was, I understand this alleged incident has raised questions and heightened concerns about the safety and well-being of children in the Buffalo Public School District. I assure the public that this office remains committed to a thorough investigation and prosecution of any crime involving a child. Additionally, I am aware of statements made by a member of the Buffalo Police Department, assuming that's you, in recent podcast interviews. My office has been conducting an investigation. We are committed to upholding the law, pursuing justice for the victims, and preserving the integrity of the investigative process while our investigation continues. I will have no further comments and will provide an update at the appropriate time. What is the response to that? Because this was posted May 7th here. And then they said Shane K. Cronin, 30, of Lombard, was indicted of attempted kidnapping, burglary, and that word's always been fun for me to say. Attempted luring a child, attempted assault, and endangering the welfare of a child charges following an alleged incident at a Buffalo public school in February of 2025.
So the way I read this, and feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, right? The way I read this, the district attorney is talking specifically about that singular case that was already going to grand jury that he added additional charges on. It doesn't sound to me like he's saying, I'm going to look into all the issues with the school that this officer talked about. Am I wrong here?
No, and that's the way it seems to me. The other problem that I have with this, going back to the additional charges, is if you had the video evidence, why are you now just adding additional charges to this, and those weren't added in the past? If you had that full video, you would have seen that there was 2 kids on there that was going on. So why now?
Are you a detective? It almost sounds like you've put this whole thing together.
It's crazy. My wife hosts a big crime show. So, yeah, I get to learn because I'm watching all these murder docs with her. And I feel like I'm one of you guys, which is probably every white woman in America now who thinks they're a cop or a DA.
Just about. That Karen Reed trial's driving me crazy.
God damn it. I love it, dude. If you could put that in a screen with Diddy, the guy from Idaho who hacked up the girls in the bikinis, and then obviously the Diddy one, and then Karen Reed, we would have a full day of this, and I wouldn't go anywhere. It'd be better than college football season on a Saturday, but here we are. I'm talking to you.
Yeah, disappointing. I know. But at least you got that little bit of like that action. You felt it for a second. You were there. That's why I do the job. You're like,
know.
Oh my God, I found this together by myself, and I think I'm right. And yes, I think that that's a very valid point, that if he was arrested already, they were going through with the indictment, they already had the video, we wouldn't have had to add new charges. But all of a sudden, there's new charges added, like weeks after the entire thing, the original arrest. And a week after, or 2 weeks after almost, I come out on the podcast and say, hey, this is really what happened. This is why I'm upset. This guy deleted video. School's not working together with us. Ta-da.
And we had a guy on the show yesterday from yournews.com who was talking about the future of new media and getting rid of mainstream media, and how podcasts and Instagram and TikTok and all that other stuff is where a lot of people are getting their news and their information. Once again, man, if you did not do this story, I don't know that this would have taken off in a huge way on a podcast, because they belittled you on that news show. I don't know the local news channel that we first watched and played on the show a couple weeks ago.
Channel 7.
Yeah, but the follow-up was actually whatever the other news station was. They were in it. They were all in at that point, and they knew the severity of it. For me personally, and I know a lot of people say this, especially to veterans. I hear it all the time when I'm out with Dan, and I see it when I'm out with police officers and detectives such as yourself, is everybody wants to thank you for your service and thank you for the bravery. In this case, like genuinely, I mean it, because if you don't come out and do this, I don't think this gets the attention that it deserves. I don't think that kid's parents get the justice they deserved. And there had to have been something going through your mind that night where you're like, shit, if I say this, man, this could fucking blow up in my face, ruin my career, and ruin my life.
Yeah, I think that's why I got teared up a little bit too, is like the story was a little emotional, but I was like, fuck, here it goes. You know, it's like, I don't know, the first major dive on a roller coaster. Your stomach's just in your, in your heart's in your stomach and whatever. But yeah, I was, I just said, fuck it. I couldn't deal with it anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm not, it's not going anywhere. They're using the official channels. It's above the Buffalo Police Department. This is potentially, I think, over the Erie County District Attorney's office. It should be handled either by the AG's office or the FBI. And I'm like, I'm all out of options, and I can't just sit here and watch, kids get abducted, and then the schools be like, well, it was only one. That one doesn't really count.
Right.
I just had enough. It boiled my blood. It made me sick. It was everything, and then I just had to get it out.
But you literally could have lost everything for this.
I still probably can. I think that's still pretty much on the line.
I hope not, man, because you did the right thing, in my opinion, and it unbelievably brave doing it, because you could or can lose everything at this point in protecting kids that aren't even yours. Usually people go on crusades like this where it's their own child involved, and it's some attack and whatever, and you completely understand it, and it's justified, but you went out on a limb for kids that were not yours, in a school that is in your district and everything else. And to me, when I watched that, that's what really struck me was this is a guy who isn't doing it for one of his own kids. He's doing it for kids in his community, which was wild to me, because you had so much on the line by saying that.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah. It was it's one of those moments where you don't really know how big it is until it's done, till you've done it. And then all of a sudden you see that, like I said, that groundswell of people coming forward and the news trying to shit on you. And then he's seeing like Asmund Gold and other streamers and like your guys' show picking it up and saying like, this is disgusting. How is nobody doing anything about this? One thing that Nick has said, the fat electrician, that I kind of stand with is it blows my mind how this is such an easy win for any politician or for any district attorney or law enforcement agency to come out and just be like, you know what? We're going to look into it because this seems serious.
Yeah.
But I'm dumbfounded by the silence.
Well, Dan and I talk about this on the show all the time. For whatever reason, and this is not just the Buffalo school system, but everywhere else, whenever there's kids involved, there is a lot of cover-up on the other side. I mean, we've seen it with Epstein and all this other shit. Obviously, we got the Diddy trial, which I just talked about. I don't understand why there is such a massive cover-up for kids and pedophilia and all this other shit, Catholic churches and all that other stuff. Why this particular thing? Because if you look at the map, somebody had sent it in. A listener just sent this in this morning about the priests that are still working who have gotten charges against them and all that other shit, and they just kind of shift them around to other churches. I don't understand the cover-up for children, why people will go to extreme lengths for fucking with kids.
Well, I mean, I'm just speculating, but it's probably because they're all pedophiles.
All of them all the way around? Like
they're either pedophiles or adjacent. I mean, look at did you see Tim Tebow on Sean Ryan's show this week?
I did not.
Okay. So within the last 30 days, 111,000 unique IP addresses in the United States of America have accessed child pornography in the last 30 days.
What did that have to do with Tim Tebow?
Tim Tebow is working for a nonprofit that's like trying to stop these people.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why he went on the show.
I know he did the Make-A-Wish. I didn't know he was working for a nonprofit that was looking after kids.
The largest consumer of child exploitative material in the world is in the United States, by far.
Is it really?
Yes. It's not even close.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know why, but I know that it is. And, certainly that's part of it. Part of it, I'm sure, is this politician thinks, I'm going to take a look at this and do something, and they get behind the curtain and realize, one, that the school's not going to cooperate, and then they see that how large the problem is, and like, oh, fuck, that's a third rail. I can't touch that. Mm-hmm. Like, this will be the only thing I ever talk about for the rest of my career if I jump into this right now. And the fact is, politicians don't give two fucks about human beings. They care about power.
Not only human beings, but children specifically here. And Rich, again, with the 3 kids, and I coach all their sports and all that other stuff, like, there's unwritten rules amongst parents where even if a parent is late to pick up their kid from a practice or a game or something like that, like me as a coach, I won't leave them alone. Like, hey, I'm not going to just tell you to wait for your parents or anything else. Like, my kid is on this team, obviously, is why I'm coaching it. So, Hey, dude, you guys can practice for a little bit. I'll sit here. I don't know if there was, traffic or an injury or something bad happened at work. But the last thing I want them to worry about is that their children are in the wrong hands of coaches or anything else, and that I would ever let something like that happen to another child. Therefore, I'll just stay. So whatever. It's an extra 15, 20 minutes out of my day. Usually the parents are apologetic, and I just don't understand why that's not the rule for everybody else.
Bro, have I got a story for you? Just the other day, like this whole thing is going on, right? Mm-hmm. Just the other day, I have a patrol officer call me up, and he goes, because I work for the SVU department. That's what I do is, kids, sexual assaults, domestics. He goes, Rich, like, what's up, man? He goes, hey, I got a problem. I go, what's your problem? He goes, the school called 911 because there was a sexual assault that happened to a student on school grounds. I go, okay, cool. What's the problem? He goes, well, it happened at dismissal. They made the call at dismissal, and it's an hour past dismissal. And we've gotten here during shift change, and there's nobody here now. There's nobody here to talk to write up this report for a sexual assault on a kid. And the call says that there's video of it. So there's nobody there to pick up the video, to give the video to officers. There's nobody there to talk to officers to say who the victim is. There's nobody there to give you any information whatsoever about the incident. They left because it was the end of the school day. Seems a little counterproductive from what you're saying.
It sure is, because, hey, if you're that tired or you want to go home that badly, why are you even in that job in the first place?
What's General Order number 1, Drill Sergeant?
Oh, shit. I will guard everything within the limits of my post and quit my post only when properly relieved.
There we go.
Yeah, and I'm a civilian, dude. I mean, granted, I'm a veteran of Olive Garden and served towards Italy there, but even I know that if I'm in the presence of somebody else's children or wives or whatever, I'm going to wait until the husband comes, the parents come, whatever it is, and make sure that these people aren't left alone, just in case, man. I would feel like shit the rest of my life if something happens to somebody else's kids or wives or whatever it is. Fuck, even boyfriends, dude. I don't even care if it's a gay guy, as long as we're partying together, But why isn't that the case for everybody else? It's kind of what the Bible says, right? I mean, I just don't get it.
I don't understand. I feel like it's one of those in for a penny, in for a pound things, and people trying to shift blame. And also, I think it also has to do with the administration just like bearing down on the people. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So there are teachers that start off their career in the Buffalo school system, and they'll do the right thing. They'll call 911. They'll see somebody potentially abusing a kid. One example was there was a teacher that was taking preschoolers, and as punishment, putting them in a bathroom, turning the lights off in the bathroom, and then keeping the door locked with their foot so they couldn't get out. So that teacher got like a complaint about her and then stayed in that same school. She just can't go around the preschool class anymore. So if you're an individual that made a complaint against that preschool teacher that's locking kids in a dark, blackened bathroom, no lights on, and all you're seeing is not even a slap on the wrist, just don't go in that office anymore, and now everybody knows that you turned that person in, and now the administration's coming back at you and saying, well, why didn't you go about it through our channel? Why did you call 911? You call us before you call 911, which is literally some of the things that have been told to these teachers by administrators.
Yep.
Like, what do you do? What do you do other than hope that there's some cop goes on the internet and then blows it all out of proportion, so then everybody, or blows it out of the water, so then everybody can at least find a rallying point and say, sweet, my one complaint is going to be a drop in the bucket. They can't come after all of us.
And I know that happens, by the way, at a lot of schools across the nation, not just in Buffalo, everywhere else, where they will say that. The administration will say, hey, come and talk to us first. Don't call 911 immediately. We'll try to resolve this situation and then potentially talk to the parents first, or send out like a mass email, which has happened in my case a few times. Usually, child gets injured on a playground. There's ambulances and cops and everything else. And so if somebody drives by, they want to let them know what it's for. But that happens way more often than people think and that parents think, which is another thing that I'm extremely proud of you for doing, is you're getting parents more active in this and asking more questions at these schools, and then finding out where this information is going. Because a lot of them, you send your kid off to school, you trust them, and then you go on about your day, and then holy shit, you have a story like this that happens, and then you don't find out about it for 3 years, and it's too late. Kid will end up in therapy the rest of his life, or whatever else is going to happen with him. But that trauma lives with a child forever. And if you don't start exposing these stories now, it's going to fuck up a child for the rest of his life.
I mean, it doesn't have to. Just therapeutically speaking, I don't know if I would agree with that, but it definitely is a problem, right? So again, I would recommend anybody that wants to get angry about all this, watch that Sean Ryan episode with TiVo. But the average one of these predators victimizes 13 children over the course of what you might call their active period or career.
Oh, they're prime?
Yeah.
Are we treating it like an NBA player now?
Yeah, 13 people. Now, it spans the gamut from literally fucking babies, like quite literally, right, to things like what Richard was talking about. This is child abuse, locking a kid in or doing something like that. All of these people should be executed.
Oh yeah, I mean, public execution. Yeah. We should be all done with them.
I'm not. There's got to be a red line in the sand somewhere with decency, right? People conflate decency with all kinds of stuff, like this stupid reporter a couple of weeks ago. Oh, they were burping and drinking and shit. Like, shut the fuck up, you gay bitch.
And I guarantee you they didn't do a follow up either.
No, they did. They did, yeah. I think so.
Those two personally, did they go on air and say, hey, we apologize for saying
I don't
this?
know if they apologized.
Oh, Ed didn't. No, the guy that called us burping and
they're not going to apologize.
No, he didn't. He stuck by his guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a turd. So there's quite a bit of distance between that and the decency where we want to live in a society where every time I take my eyes off my children, I'm not holding my breath, hoping nothing happens to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's a completely untenable society to live in. It's just broken window theory socialized across an entire community instead of just in one area. And if people don't have faith and confidence in the goodness of other people, then everything deteriorates. And there's only one way to have confidence in the faith and goodness, or have confidence in the faith and goodness of people, and that is to eliminate shitheads.
Yeah.
In whatever way you have to. Prison is an option, but somebody hurts a child, they got to die.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know like what it's going to take in this country for people to take it seriously. But again, I'm telling you, this Epstein thing is real. All these other trafficking rings are fucking real. And the power centers in this country are somehow organized around it to prevent it from coming down, whether it's the Catholic Church or people in D.C.
Yeah, but let's take that case of what you said about locking that kid in the bathroom with the lights off. Similar situation happened to my child, not at a school or anything like that. We lost power during a hurricane for like 48 hours. It was dark as shit in the house. Kid was afraid of the dark for like 2 years afterwards. It's little moments like that live with you forever. You can't really describe them. And a child has a really hard time describing them of why these feelings and emotions keep coming up over the years. Now, I happened to be with my child during that hurricane, and I was just like, hey, buddy, that's what happens, you know? It was a bad one. Power went out for 48 hours. There's no need for you to be afraid of the dark. But imagine a teacher locking you in a bathroom and then shutting off the lights like that, how long that's going to live with you, let alone being touched by one of these people or actually being kidnapped like in that video footage.
Yeah, it's insane for the schools to see these specific incidents that are happening that I'm just talking about with you guys right now, and not see just the audacity that the how people can look at the Buffalo Public Schools, the Board of Education, and not just see how they're being so just blind, intentionally blind to some of these people that they are allowing to teach these kids. It's insane.
It is insane. And another question I had regarding that podcast and your story in particular was, you know, having the luxury, and it is a luxury to have this job on a daily basis for everybody around the world. I don't know what anybody's going to say when they come on the show. Neither does Dan. It's not scripted. We don't ask pre-questions or hand out a questionnaire or whatever and find out what happens. But I am curious, as a guest going on that show, did you know going in you were going to tell that story, or did that just come up organically in the show?
No, I was going to go in and I was going to tell it. They didn't know. The boys didn't know. I got flown down there. I think I knew for like 5 days before the show that's what I was going to do. So I was like, my stomach was in knots for 5 days, like going over what I was going to say and how I was going to bring it up and if they were going to let me talk about it. And then we did the podcast, and we were about to go into the after show, and I couldn't find like a good time to do it in the podcast. I was trying to make it come out as natural as it could. And then when we were about to go into the after show, I looked over at the guys and I was like, "Hey, are we still recording?" They're like, "Yeah." I go, "All right, cool. I got to say something. Do whatever you want with it." I go, "I just got to say this." And they were like, "Okay, all right, say what you got to say." And then once I started talking about it, everybody kind of knew how serious that moment was. And then I was really appreciative of them to not just let me talk about it, but also they were smart. They were like, "We're going to keep this completely separate. We're going to put it out there. This is bigger than all of us." And it was I was really impressed by my friends on how they just kind of rallied around me.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I know those guys, again, are professional YouTubers. And typically content like this is what gets your channel in a place where we are, where we can't. We made $900 last month, for Christ's sakes. We're number 10 in the world in Spotify on comedy. And it's just like, dude, the YouTube numbers are dog shit because we don't care about sharing stories like this or having people on like this, where I also see the other side of it, where it is a business too, and you want to make the right decision. And for those guys to allow it on their channel like that, it could have risked the channel and been like ours is. Obviously, that did not happen, but they decided to cut that out as a separate episode and put that clip up separately because it was a long story. It felt like a full show, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it was like 37 minutes, 39 minutes.
Yeah.
And instead of having an after show, we just kind of had that session where they let me say everything that I needed to say. And then we were all just kind of like heavy in the moment. And we were just like, all right, cool. Let's all just stop. Let's go grab some dinner. Let's make sure Rich is okay. Let's talk about how we move forward with this, because we're going to move forward with it. And I was, like I said, I was really appreciative of like Eli and Brandon and Nick and Cody just being like, oh, hell no, we're going to push this out. Like, if you're ready, we're ready to back you up, and we're going to push it out too.
That's awesome, because a story like this, let's face it, gets flagged on YouTube. They don't want this shit on YouTube. They don't want anybody to talk about it. And probably even Google, who owns them, would prefer if you bury a story like this. So that's awesome that those guys were allowed you to put that out and tell your story and share it, because it really did change everything, in my opinion, in the last couple of weeks. I'm sure the DA will say differently, but looking at the evidence here,
might disagree.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucked. I tell you what, we'll swap out of this here and get to something else. I want to ask you some actual cop stuff that's going on around the nation here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Right now, there is rumors behind the scenes, and according to Mike Walz, the governor of Minnesota.
Tim Walz.
Tim? Mike was the other one?
Yeah, Mike Walz is the former Green Beret who was doing secret deals with Israel and got fired for it.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, I kind of...
Wasn't he the guy that did the Signal chat leak too?
He sure did, yeah. Same dude there, so forgive me for getting that wrong. But with that, allegedly, behind the scenes, he has met with officials and his people and everything else, and they are gearing up towards a possible pardon of Derek Chauvin. In the Derek Chauvin case, what do you think would have, should and would have happened had the media and the rest of the United States not had burned down that summer?
Oh, geez. I mean, with so many people knowing about it, you've got to take it out of the county. You've got to take it out wherever. If you need to go into a different state, go into a different state. I don't understand like that, like where it has to stay within the state. If you know the state statutes and you can define the statutes of the state, I don't see which courtroom where would matter. But yeah, one of the things that I didn't like about the Chauvin case, right? Let's say that he's 100% guilty and he killed that man, right? One of the things that I didn't like is I didn't like how the prosecution, I think it was the prosecution, was shopping around for different coroners. They had like 3 different coroners go over the body, and it was only in like the third one was that third coroner like, oh yeah, I think he could have possibly had asphyxiation, whereas the other 2 previous coroners were like, no, this guy was all hopped up and dope and had excited delirium, and that's why he passed away.
Which do you think it is?
I think it was excited delirium. I mean, I think that I think the biggest issue with the Derek Chauvin case is once you've got a guy handcuffed in the back of the car, unless he's legitimately still, I'm not letting him out of the car until A, the ambulance has arrived, or B, we're downtown. I'm not getting you out of the car because you're kicking the window and screaming, quote unquote, I can't breathe. I'm not taking you out of the back of my car because you're already secure. The only person that can hurt you back there is you. And some cities have, body cameras and car cameras. So nobody can say that I refused to give aid, or I punched him in the head, or I gave him some sort of pressure point while he was in the back of the car. The second that they drug him out of the car, I was like, dumb move. Yeah. Wish you would have kept him in there. Wait for the ambulance. Only when he goes limp back there would I be like, okay, there is an issue. Now I need to start doing some sort of medical aid. Otherwise, sit in the back of the car.
Yeah, that was always odd to me. And a lot of people, I would say 95% of Americans, didn't see that footage. There was a beginning 13 minutes-ish, 13 to 15 minutes-ish of him handcuffed in the back of the car, running around, saying a bunch of crazy shit, looked like he was all hopped up on drugs. And then they let him out of the back of the car, which is what led to all of this. And that part I could never figure out. And you're saying it's standard protocol just to shut the doors until they pass out or whatever happens?
Well, a guy that's saying I can't breathe is breathing, because you can't speak without breathing.
Very true. Unless the sign language behind his back was very good. But they don't teach that, unfortunately, at the
Very
Helen
loud
Keller
sign
School.
language.
Yeah, it's in Tecumseh, Alabama. They don't teach that at the sign language school down there where Helen Keller is. But
Now, I'm curious about this case, though, because clearly it was an overdose. But who's issuing the pardon? It would have to be Tim Walz.
No.
Because he's the governor.
it is allegedly it was Donald Trump. And
This is not a federal case.
By the way, this is according to KSTP. This is their news station up in Minneapolis. Forgive me for interrupting you, Bob. And it says Minneapolis and state leaders prepare for possible Derek Chauvin pardon. And Walz has been notified. So what's the ruling on this, Bob?
Well, there were federal charges as well.
There were as well, but the second-degree murder charge that he's in prison for is a state charge, and Trump doesn't have the authority to pardon that. So I don't know if he's just going to commute some of the sentence or whatever, because, look, this case has already had judicial review. It went to the Minnesota Supreme Court, and they refused to overturn it. Then it went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they refused to take the case at all. So I don't know who the fuck is issuing a pardon unless it's just on if it's just on the federal charges, which I don't know how much.
What are the federal charges? Hate crime charges?
I believe so, but actually, and this is breaking news right now. So Trump just said to a reporter right now at the White House, no, I have not heard about that or a possible pardoning there. So, yeah, who would that come from? And if the state officials are really gearing up for this, who would that pardon come from?
At this point, because it's already gone to the Minnesota Supreme Court, there's only two bodies on earth that can pardon him. One is the U.S. Supreme Court, and the other one is Tim Walz himself, the governor.
Okay.
So I don't know what the fuck's going on. And it just seems so unlikely that Tim Walz is doing this. And if he is, we know he's not doing it because he believes in it. He's doing it to try to stoke racial antagonism.
He said he is not, and that's
well. Then he's not getting pardoned.
Of it. Well, here's the weird thing. I'm going to continue to read this because this is all going on like as we speak here. So it says he's currently being held in a federal prison in Texas, serving a 22.5-year sentence.
He is serving that concurrently with his state charges.
Right. And he says he still owes Minnesota 22.5 years, and he's going to do it either in Minnesota or somewhere, but he's not getting out, and this is according to them. According to Walz, to reporters, he said no indication whether they're going to do it or not, but I think it behooves us to be prepared for it. With this presidency, it seems like something they would do. So would the Trump administration, would Trump be able to himself pardon him?
Yeah, if it's just for only the federal charges, though, which means the only outcome is that he gets shipped back to a Minnesota prison, which, you know, as a cop going back to the place where you worked to be in prison there is probably not the best thing in the world.
No.
I mean, he's going to be in ADSEG anyways, no matter what prison he goes to. So I'm not sure what the fucking point of this is, frankly, especially considering that he's serving the federal time concurrently with his state time. If it was split up into two different sentences, that would be one thing. But the fact that he's serving them concurrently, I just don't understand what the point of this is.
What did Chauvin get? 20 to life?
20, yeah, he got 22 and a half years.
22 and a half years in prison,
Then he got 10 more under a sentencing guideline, which is abuse. I think it's the not hate crime, but it's like the federal charges of abuse of power and cruelty and blah, 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 whatever. Yeah.
It also appears this could be political because, look, Trump has had a very great week by all standards here. And a White House official, as of 16 minutes ago, told Fox News the president is not planning to pardon Derek Chauvin. So was this a story maybe planted by Walz himself?
This seems like something that the left is trying to do to get some riots going, yes. It's summertime.
Yeah, it is. Summertime's riot season, dude.
This is the summer of love, right? And that's why all the dipshit right-wing influencers on Twitter are just resharing this story that's not verified in any way. Mm-hmm. Like, just use some basic fucking common sense. If somebody is in prison and they're getting pardoned, there's only four organizations that can issue that pardon. One is if it's federal, the president or the Supreme Court. Two, if it's state, the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court, or the governor of that state. Those are the only people that have the legal authority to pardon anybody for anything, right? So if all those guys are saying, I don't know who's pardoning him, then nobody is, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! But the right-wing influencer crew on Twitter right now is just like, oh, it's going to be another summer of love. They're just trying to set the conditions for riots this summer. That's all it is.
Well, it's weird because this story was actually broken by one of the local news stations up in Minneapolis. So there is nobody can confirm any of this. By the way,
it's not real.
It doesn't feel real to me. What do you think he should have got in that case, Rich?
Jesus, I didn't pay attention enough to it to know whether or not that it was what they gave. They gave manslaughter, right? Like the unintentional murder of an individual.
Murder one, I thought.
Yeah, I think they gave murder one.
No, it was second-degree murder.
Second degree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second degree murder. So what are the stipulations for second degree murder? Is there intent? Does intent have to be in there?
Yes.
'Cause I didn't see any intent.
I didn't
there
either.
has to be intent?
Yes, there has to be intent. And I know that was a big part of it. And what they said during the trial, I remember this specifically because we covered it a lot during that time period, was that he had worked with him as a bouncer at a club at one point, and they had done some off-duty stuff together, and that he had a relationship with him before this all shook out 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah, but having a relationship with somebody doesn't mean intent. Intent means like you had the focus and the wherewithal to do what you did on purpose. He was trying to pin down a guy that was going crazy in the back of his car, hopped up on a whole bunch of dope, and then just sat there and waited for an ambulance to show up. Now, you can say that he wasn't really focused on the guy he was kneeling and more focused on the people around him screaming, which I would be too if I've got a group of people around me screaming. Now I've got my attention is going to be split in two ways. Manslaughter, I think, would have been the highest charge that he could have gotten, where it's like not a reckless, maybe a reckless, but not intent. I didn't see intent in there. That's interesting to me. I didn't know that he had murder 2, which had intent in it.
Yeah.
Well, murder 2 in Minnesota can be intentional or unintentional. Second-degree murder constitutes the intentional murder.
That's very vague, isn't it?
So it's the intentional murder of a person
both.
without premeditation, or unintentional second-degree murder is defined as murder in which the prosecution is not required to prove intent, but only that the defendant committed a felony causing another person's death. So I guess you don't have unintentional second-degree murder is Minnesota's felony murder rule. Unlike most other states that have felony murder rule, Minnesota pushes felony murder as second-degree murder rather than first-degree murder.
Okay.
So no intent, or at least no premeditation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this entire story that's been going viral all day, this seems like a plant out of their office versus something that's actually going to happen. And the White House just addressed it 16 minutes ago.
Just wait. There will be fucking protests somewhere this weekend.
You think so?
And it'll get violent. Yep.
Just because it was out there in the Twitter sphere for hello Twitter worlds. R.I.P. OJ. Still miss him, but we're looking for the real killers out here, Rich. We always have.
Yeah.
Been.
Speaking of murderers,
look, Rich. That's part of our crusade.
Allegedly,
I don't want to drag you into that. Yeah, he was
he
found
wrote a
not
book
guilty.
on how he would have done it.
But he was also found not guilty.
I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, he's right up there. He lives in our hearts and our minds.
And no, that's just a jersey that's signed pre-murder.
Pre-murder, obviously. We don't do after murder. Same with this Aaron Hernandez one that was brought into the studio there.
Oh my God!
Actually, that was almost certainly signed after he murdered somebody.
You think so?
Yeah, because he murdered somebody in Florida, didn't he?
He did. I got a picture with him and one of my best friends from college 2 weeks after he murdered those other people, which is great.
Didn't he murder like 3 or 4 people?
Oh, yeah, dude. He had a lot. I think his body count was 3 or 4, Bob?
At least, yeah. 'Cause I think it was like 2 people at Florida.
2 in Florida, 1 in Massachusetts, and I don't know if there was others afterwards, but that's a decent body count. Like his state sides are... He owns Dan right here. I mean, he's up 3-0 on you.
Yeah. I just can't. I was sitting in my barber chair earlier today, daydreaming, like, what if I start hearing gunshots outside? Can I just go out there and start killing people?
Can you?
Yes.
You can if you pick up the brass.
No. I've got my own.
Yeah, he's in Texas. You can do whatever you want, gun-wise. It's everything else you can't do here. No porn, no abortion, no gambling, no weed, probably in a couple weeks. But guns are fun.
They're going to get rid of weed?
Yeah.
Wait, weed's not legalized there, right?
No, it's not. And they even want to get rid of like Delta 8 and Delta 9. They got tricked down here. And they were like, oh, fuck. We didn't know that you could still get high off of that. Swear to God, that was their way around it. And they just signed a bill, and they're trying to ban all that shit too. So,
as much as I think it should be legalized, I also can't stand how legal weed is It's the most obnoxious thing. It's like I hate public drunkenness and I hate smelling your shitty fucking Buddha Blast orange peel sick 99 fucking dope dangle weed. It smells like ass.
But let me ask you, Rich, have you ever had to get physical with a guy who was on too much weed? Probably not. Alcohol, yes. Weed, never.
Only if you're like at his house trying to wrestle the chips out of his hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's about the only time it'll get physical. If that Pringles can pops open,
Yeah.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Although I think the sound of it popping would distract them long enough for you to grab the can.
Very true. Very true. Rich, do you guys follow like other cop stories around the nation as they go on in a day in and day out basis? And do you guys have a good laugh about it behind the scenes? I was always curious to ask you because you haven't been on the show in a while. Like the Laverne, Tennessee thing I brought up the other day with a guest. Remember that white chick who had a polite gangbang with the rest of the police department down?
Well, I don't know.
in
They weren't all fucking at the same time. She just happened to be fucking all of them.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think it happened. I don't think it was a one instance.
I thought they were in a hot tub at one point. She was
in a hot tub with her. Wasn't it her husband and one of the other cops?
I believe so.
Yeah. But I don't think it was gangbangs necessarily. I hope it was for her sake.
There's probably a couple of threesomes thrown in there.
Oh, yeah,
You're
a couple
banging
of those,
6 or 7 dudes up at about the same like month of one another. You're probably like looking at each other like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you guys talk about that when you see a story go viral like that, where you're like, holy shit, dude?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talk about that.
Okay.
And then we compare it to like people that we know in our department, gossip a little bit. Yeah, we're all a bunch of teenagers.
Because people are fucking behind the scenes. We played that
everybody's
hot
fucking.
sorority girl footage the other day.
Which one?
The one from University. Was it Georgia, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was University of Georgia. She was smoke show sorority chick who got arrested twice. And then the cop put on his playlist in the car, which we put on the show here. Have you ever arrested somebody and then put on a playlist for them?
Yeah. I mean, I've arrested people and I've asked them who they want to listen to.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst request you ever had? And have you ever shut anybody down?
Also, would you release them if it was Creed?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you like Creed? Sorry.
With arms wide open.
You give them
and then it's like, hey, congratulations. These cuffs are wide open now, too. You get to go.
You give them their gun and their dope back. Just like, hey, you know what, brother?
Yeah.
Life's tough out there.
It is, dude.
There would be one song. I can't give it away because it's got to happen naturally. I'm not going to give them the cheat codes to how to win the game.
Okay.
But yeah, there would be one song where I think I could be like, you know what? I guess you're okay, bud. This half ounce of dope is, well, yeah, get out of here, scam.
God damn it, dude. It would now you got my mind going, Rich. I think it would have
You would
to be
never guess it. You would absolutely never guess it.
And for me too. It would have to be a deep cut where if somebody brought it up, it'd be like, fuck, man, you know that song? All right. Whatever, man.
What if they asked for?
Look past
What
this.
if they asked for "I Am a Real American"? Hulk Hogan's theme music from the '80s.
I think that is an automatic get out of jail free card unless it's pedophilia or murder.
No,
like
it-
drugs.
it
It
Serious
depends
for
on
them.
who they murder too.
Right?
Because if they had murdered a pedophile, then
Then you're definitely
Right.
free. Yeah.
Why is he even arrested?
Exactly. Exactly. But if you play, I'm a real American, you're all good there. I'm trying to
pretty
think
good,
what yours is right now. Can you give me a decade?
Oh, I think it came out in the 70s, early 80s.
I fucking knew it. I was just going to say that 70s or early 80s, dude. I bet it's a real deep cut. I'm not going to take a stab at it.
No, it's on the radio. It's on the radio.
Still
You'll
to
hear it
this
every
day?
once in a while on the radio. What's that?
To this day?
Oh yeah, it's a banger.
As it rains down in Africa. Like when that song comes on.
It's not as big as Toto.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
Because if that's on my list, 99 Luft Balloons from that era, but it's got to be the half German version. Like I don't want the
I
English
don't know.
one.
You can't sing that a cappella. That's not an a cappella song.
Oh, if you can though, you win. I just watched it on American Idol the other night. The kids like watching American Idol and The Voice, and this chick got up there and sang an a cappella version of 99 Luft Balloons. Tears, literal tears on my face on the couch, and I was like, she should win now. This is it. We've chosen our winner right now.
That's it.
Yeah, she was like 18 years old, and I was like, the fact that this chick even knows this song, give her the goddamn award and sign her a record deal tomorrow. Let's go.
Tim Tebow had come out of the background to let everybody know that he had saved her from one of those horrible like sex dungeon orphanages.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe I've known that one.
Oh yeah, I probably gave her fucking brain surgery too. It's some weird South American country where it was just like, oh my God, I remember you. And now he's throwing footballs to her kid. They're having a good time in the yard. God damn
She's
it,
catching
dude.
them with their teeth.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's all they're doing down there.
Is it Black Betty by Ram Jam?
Oh, that's a good one,
You'll never
dude.
get it. I would have. I'm trying to think of a way to like hint at what it is without giving it away. But I guess you could say you've got a prayer in Memphis.
Oh, Walking in
fuck
Memphis?
you, dude. Are you a conehead? I'm a fucking conehead, dude. I love Mark Cohn. I'm
Maybe
a
a little
goddamn conehead, dude. I've said that on this show for years.
I'm more of a David Cohn guy myself, but
The pitcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck him, dude.
what
No.
great curveball. What are you
Walking
talking
in
about?
Memphis is one of the greatest songs of all time.
What happens if someone requests
Who
the
you
share
got a
version?
prayer in Memphis? Fuck that. No.
if somebody requests the
no.
share version, you double the sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't do that.
Stuff on them after that.
And then maybe even a rest share, if that's possible.
Is that really one of your favorite songs?
Oh yeah.
Same.
That's like a solid go-to at karaoke night.
God damn it, dude. So I love that song. I play it like genuinely when I'm by myself, just rolling around. I don't really know why, but here's how deep I went into that motherfucker, Rich. I actually had our producer, Bob, look up his concert schedule here to see if he was still alive and potentially coming to Austin, Texas, just so I could see that one song. There is bands that I've gone to see to sing one song and one song only, and once they sing that song, I walk right the fuck out of there.
I mean, he's only 65.
I know.
You know what you could do, because he's from Cleveland. He probably lives in Ohio. You could probably just buy the house across the street from him and just play that song 24 hours
I
a
bet
day.
we could buy him out for a Hard AF Seltzer event.
That might be more reasonable, yeah.
If he just sang that one song, that's it, and then walked off the stage, I'd be all good with that. Like, hey,
A
here's
plane ticket,
Yes.
$5,000. I want you to play this 5 times in a row and then leave.
yes, and then just
$1
get the
grand
fuck
for
out of
each
here.
time you play it.
Yep. Obviously, I want a selfie for the gram, but yeah,
You can play
$5K.
on the piano.
Yeah. Well, I'm not that musical, but I would like to duet with him.
Jared could probably do it.
Oh, I meant literally lay on the piano.
Oh, me personally, yeah, I would love that. I would absolutely fucking love that.
You could then feel the music through your body.
Yeah. Have you ever done that, by the way? Just gone to see a band for one song and one song only and then walked out?
No, I really don't like big crowds, so I can't stand going to concerts.
So I did. I went to, who sings Shipping Up to Boston? Dropkick Murphys.
Dropkick Murphys, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally. But so Homeboy comes out. He's very round. He looks like a bowling ball.
Like the Blues Traveler guy?
Yeah.
Well, he lost a bunch of weight,
Belushi.
apparently, yeah.
Well, he's dead. That happens in death. You lose all your weight in death.
Who's that?
It's John Belushi.
No, I'm talking about the Blues Traveler guy.
Oh, the Blues Traveler. Yeah.
He lost a bunch of weight.
The hook will bring you back.
Yeah.
So I went to see that. Homeboy starts talking shit immediately about Trump. And I'm like, motherfucker, man, I just want to enjoy my night. I'm at Stubbs downtown. And shit, you know who was there? Was Donut. Donut was at that show. Yes. And I ran into him. And I think Heather and some other people were there. And I was like, they were like, hey, what the fuck are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm only here to see Shipping Up to Boston, then I'm out of here. And they were like, really? And I go, yeah, that's kind of it. And then once he sang that song, I got the fuck out of there, and that was it.
Oh.
His
Dropkick.
Dropkick.
Really good show is Me First in the Gimme Gimmes. They still got it.
Really?
Still got it, kid.
When's
I
the
saw
last time you saw him?
Ago.
2 years
ago, I think maybe, yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, for you, though, I would have said like a Boston guy. Like Boston would have been the band for you.
Oh, God. For the song?
Yeah, just one like random Boston song. You know?
Or Chicago.
Yeah. Well, Chicago's a weird one because nobody really knows the band Chicago.
Nobody knows the band Boston.
No, they do. There's always that one song. It's More Than a Feeling. Like, we all know More Than a Feeling, and I thought that would have been it, and then boom, that's your walk-off out of there for Boston. But Chicago, I can't name a song for them. And as far as bands named after cities, I got to go Boston on this one. More Than a Feeling still fucks. When that comes on, pants are down, I'm ready to fuck.
Those are the only two bands I know that are named after cities.
Oof, that's a good question.
Well, Kansas is named after a state. That was my first concert I've ever went to.
Kansas was?
Yep.
Don't Fear the Reaper.
Is that Don't Fear the Reaper?
No, that's Blue
No, it's
Oyster
Dust in the
Cult.
Wind.
That's Blue Oyster Cult,
yeah.
Dust in the Wind. All right.
Dust in the Wind is their big one.
Yeah, Dust in the Wind. They've got like probably half a dozen songs you've heard of on the radio that are good.
No shit.
Yeah,
I can't think of any other bands that are named after cities, though. Like
What
got Europe.
Yeah, Europe, but that's a whole continent.
final
You get
countdown.
the presidents of the United States of America.
So again, that's a whole country.
I love that Trump over in Saudi Arabia made him listen to Lee Greenwood's "God Bless the USA" for the entire version on his walk up, and then the walkout was YMCA, and all of those fucking people with towels on their heads were fucking dancing the entire time.
I can't tell if that's a joke or not because that is something he would absolutely.
Oh, it
do.
all happened.
It is completely
Not only-
100% real. We watched the footage.
Yeah, they had the Qatari color guard fucking marching around with American flags as Lee Greenwood played.
Yep.
You're kidding me.
No, and they made him. Trump made him play the full fucking songs.
It's almost like putting somebody in the cuck chair, to be honest.
Like we
love all
fucked
of
his
it.
wife in his own house.
Yeah.
Is us going to Saudi Arabia. Do you think he like got the plane back because they're like, listen, we smashed 3 of these into your towers.
Yeah,
2 more are coming.
I think it's Saudi Arabia that owes us a couple of planes.
They do. So, like, I don't know why
But they
people
gave
are
us
pissed
600
off by this.
they
Like,
gave
give
it-
us a plane.
They gave us $600 billion.
It's taxpayer money that we would have had to pay for the new plane. So, yeah, dude, if we're going to overlook 9/11, what's a third plane at this point, or fourth plane?
Oh,
I
I'm not
guess.
saying overlook it. I'm saying like Italian or Jewish mom it. We bring it up often in order to get what we want.
Yep.
And it's never going to be enough.
No.
Oh, so you mean like what the Jews have done with the Holocaust?
Yeah.
I said Jewish mom. I mean,
Yeah.
And
Well,
don't you
but
think
what-
that's why this whole entire thing happened?
Yeah.
Where he was just like, you know what, fuck you guys. Write this check right now. We'll do it live on stage, and then I'm going to play Lee Greenwood's "God Bless the USA" and then YMCA afterwards. And there's not a fucking thing you guys can do.
Oh, yeah, Berlin is a band. That's
Berlin
right.
is,
Yeah.
but it's Germany.
It's a city, though.
Yeah, it is.
it's a city.
That's
It
the
is.
only, I don't know. There's
What
not
do
a
they
lot.
sing? What song does Berlin sing?
Oh, Berlin's got hits. "Take My Breath Away."
Oh yeah, there we go. Take
Come
my breath
on,
away.
man.
My bad. How dare I?
Come
I forgot.
on, Rich, you're better than that.
You know, I thought that I really made some strides going forward with the cone, but
Well, that song was in Top Gun, which makes it kind of doubly offensive that you didn't know.
It sure is.
I
That
don't
was in the
know
fuck
the
scene. But by the way, when they're touching tongues, him and Kelly McGillis, right after, she was like, "I couldn't say in front of that whole room that you were the best pilot I've ever seen in my entire life." And then, boom, they go in and have that scene where the jeans get unzipped and then they're tonguing each other there. That was
Yeah.
Berlin, "Take My Breath Away." That was also the first time as a kid that I saw like 2 adults touching tongues. I didn't understand why they were doing it, but I knew it. I got bricked up.
Still
over
don't.
it. Yeah, still don't. Still
they're
don't.
lizard people.
Yeah,
That's fine.
don't approve.
Real
No.
people don't have to do that. Only the lizard people.
For cops, is there bands that you guys all enjoy that everybody talks about, or is there all different?
Any Irish band.
Yeah.
Because anything you can
Oh,
drink
yeah.
to, basically.
That and "Fuck the Police" is every cop's favorite song.
Shut the fuck up. Is it really?
Oh, dude. Yeah. They're playing our, like, I've had people play it when I'm arresting their, like, family members or friends. And I'm just like, yo, you have no idea. This is our jam. And we can't sing along to every word of it. But, we'll be singing along. And then it's kind of funny because then the crowd kind of turns and they're like, wait, you know this song? I'm like, yeah, man. Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me. I've got a follow-up question. Which are the words in there that you can't say?
You know the words I can't say. The words, they're the same words that I'm only allowed to say in court when I'm repeating what somebody said to me in a statement.
Oh,
Okay.
You mean like the one on the jersey over there?
Which one?
Yeah, we got a
Robin?
New Jersey on set. Don't know if you can see it. It's right next
it
to
the green
Rodman.
one?
Yeah, it's the
Wait.
green one.
Is it the kid that's
Yes.
Sure is.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Cuh?
Yeah, Noah
That guy?
Kaniga. Yeah, that's our guy.
We just call him Ka around here.
Yeah, we're big fans of Noah Kaniga, and they just signed him to an NIL deal. This was part of it, so we got a
Wait, who
signed
signed-
jersey. This, by the way, Rich, this just went up an hour ago.
Yeah.
So you're the first person on the show to have this.
Who signed him to the NIL deal? Is it just all black people?
Not
It has to
sure. Not
Like
sure
the
yet.
entire black community came together and signed him to an NIL deal because his last name is the N word.
But what I do know is it's Eastern Michigan University, I think is the school that he went to. They're selling out of jerseys. So getting
I
this
wouldn't
was
say.
really fucking hard, dude.
If I come on, you know that this jersey's selling more in black neighborhoods than it is in white neighborhoods for sure, right? It's hilarious.
It should be universal to all of us.
Hey, I don't see why it's a race thing.
I think he might end racism, Rich.
Yeah, this is going to bring us together. We got all these right-wing, like, turds that are trying to stoke the fires and create animosity between races. And we've got, what's his first name?
Noah.
Noah.
We've got Noah Kaniga trying to
Yeah.
bring people together.
We actually have a
Right?
shirt on drinkinbros.com.
Wait, do we really?
It says Noah, please.
Oh, Noah, please. That's right, dude. Yeah.
So.
We're huge fans of him.
Yeah.
Cop-wise, what's the biggest movie for you guys? Is it Super Troopers?
Super Troopers is a fun one. One of the more realistic ones was what was it, something called? It was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, End of Watch.
End of Watch.
Yeah.
That one was like, that was pretty realistic. There were some parts of it where you pulled back a little bit and you're like, all right, that's a little too much. But like there are some parts that are just super realistic and you're like, yeah.
That one's Black Hawk Down for cops, basically.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's why I asked. I wonder if there was a Black Hawk Down for cops. So it's that one, End of Watch?
End of Watch for me, I don't know about the older generation, but for us like coming in, End of Watch, we watched it, we were all like, wow. We've been in some of those scenarios that they highlighted in that movie.
It's kind of funny because Gyllenhaal was in Jarhead as well, which is some of it is goofy, but like the way that he makes it onto the Scout Sniper team was kind of retarded. But the story of them sitting around with their thumbs up their ass all the time on a deployment, that is very real. It sucks. Like 99% of the time, you're just sitting there hot, sweaty, nothing to do. And then you're like, oh, we got to go murder people.
Yeah, but it really shines a light on, do you want to do this job? Because you watch that movie, you're like, man, you're just bored 90% of the time, and there's 10% of fun.
Yeah, if you stretched out the, I guess Generation Kill did a pretty good job of showing the boredom too.
Okay.
And the monotony. There's a little bit more of the being close to the flagpole stuff, as we call it in Generation Kill, I suppose. But Jarhead was a pretty accurate representation of like Dennis Haysbert character, right? The colonel that makes him fucking go stir shit or whatever the fuck. That's a real thing. There's a bunch of egomaniac officers running around that have no idea what they're doing or how they even got there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's wild. What about Training Day?
I mean, it's a great movie. I think everybody likes Training Day.
I love Training Day, but I also watched it as a civilian, and I was like, this probably isn't really true, is it?
Maybe like one unit in like the 70s did some of that, but like nobody did all of that.
Yeah. What's your least favorite Denzel movie?
Okay. Mine?
Least favorite Denzel Washington movie?
It's the one with the kid in the hospital.
Oh, John Doe?
Yeah. Or not John Doe.
I don't think I've watched that one.
Oh, not John Doe.
John
Q, yes.
My least favorite Denzel movie would probably be one of the ones that I haven't watched, because every single one that I've watched I love. Bone Collector, solid.
Oh, dude.
Solid.
I got down on Bone Collector too, man. I like that movie.
The one where he's trying to hunt down the demon Azazel.
Oh, yeah, that's 1998. What's the name of that movie? Fallen.
So good.
Yeah, that might be his best movie, actually.
It's so good. Goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
Still about the twist at the end.
It's awesome, dude. He's one of the very best there is, for sure. By the way, my buddy was in Super Troopers only for like a minute and a half. And he was I can't pull over anymore. Joey Kern. 10 years later, hanging out with him, dude, everywhere we go, everybody screams in his face, I can't pull over anymore.
He still looks the same.
Identical.
I can't pull over any farther, which, by the way, is the correct. That's correct grammatically. Is how you know, like a nerd wrote it, and he just said.
Well, he's a smart guy in real life.
Yeah.
His only issue is he looks identical to the guy on what's that fucking show? Yellowstone. The son on Yellowstone, who's now getting a spin-off show. I mean, they look identical.
Then Casey, the Navy SEAL.
Yep. And everybody says, "Oh, hey, shit, dude! Congratulations, Yellowstone." I said, not me, dude, not me. Last cop fun fact here before you get out, Rich. Do you guys have a favorite case over the years that you talk about?
There's like favorite incidents where like it was either too funny or it was like your first time getting something big that you remember that you like. You're like, yeah, that was a good day.
What was it for you? Are you allowed to share it, or because you're still in, you can't?
It's over. So I used to be in a unit that did like gangs, guns, and drugs, and then I transferred over to a unit that just stuck in the housing projects. And when that gangs, guns, and drugs unit closed, a lot of the guys that were in it transferred over to the housing project unit. So you're kind of hanging out with the same guys. So we're there doing some of the same things, jumping out on dudes and yada yada. And my one buddy, I wasn't in the day before, he went to a traffic stop. Kid gets pulled out with a couple 8-balls. And they're like, all right, cool, you're going to go to jail for that. You're going to get arrested for the coke. And some random dude pulls up and is like, hey, that's my friend. Can I get him out of trouble? And my buddy, never missing an opportunity that presents itself, is like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I'll give you some information if you can let him go right now. And we're like, that's not how it works. He's already in our pocket, right? You tell us something, we'll figure it out. And then we'll talk to the DAs about, maybe letting him go. He's like, all right. He's like, there's this guy, he drives this truck by this barber shop and they move kilos. And he's like, okay, good to know. So the next day he comes in, he tells me about this. And I'm like, sweet, let's go to the barbershop. Let's check it out. We drive by the barbershop as I'm just the first time, just the first loop. Drive by it. I see the truck that stands out. It's like a early 2000s. It's the older body style Tacoma. It's got rims. It's got a lifted kit. And the second that I'm like, a truck like that, and I look over at it, and the dude's got the window like rolled down, and he looks at me like, oh shit. And I'm like, that's my bitch. That's my bitch. This is it. So we pull around the corner and we're dipping and diving and we're like hiding in alleyways and we're watching him and we're trying to see when he pulls out. And like, we've already got him for the tints. We've already got him for some other things. We're going to do a traffic stop on the car. So drive around him. He keeps like trying to go back into the barbershop again and again. And we're like, oh, he's moving weight right now. He's going back and forth, back and forth. He's sketched out. He's looking around. We're like, this is great. So we go down a one-way street because we know he's going to have to go right in front of that street from where he's parked. And then we'll snatch him because we got to get out of sight now. Like, he's been watching us for too long. He knows that we're like up on him. So we sit on this one-way street waiting for him to go in front of it because that's the way his car was parked. Doesn't this son of a bitch go the wrong way down the one-way street and we meet nose to nose? So I'm like, oh, sweet. We got you going the wrong way in a one-way. So we roll up to the car and he's just like, I just smoked weed. And we're like, okay, dude, there's weed in the car, whatever. At the time, weed was illegal in New York. So we're like, all right, we'll get you out of the car. We'll get the weed out of the car. He hands us like a blunt. We're like, all right, cool. We'll get you out of the car. We'll put you in our car. We'll make sure there's no more weed in there. He's like, okay. And like right away, this dude's vibe was like jittery, freaked out. So we get him we open up the car door and we had like boxed him into the car door. So there was one guy like at the opening at a 90 degree and me on the other side like a square. So it was two dudes and then the car and the car door. And he tried to scoot. He tried to run. We already had his belt in our hands. Like we already knew, like whenever you drag somebody or move somebody or walk somebody to your car, always grab their belt because if they try to take off, they're not going far once you got their belt. So we get into the ground. I almost break his arm and we get him in the back of the car and we're like, sweet. He's going for, he's getting arrested for the dope, the obstruction and the resisting. Let's get let's look in this car because we're going to tow the car now. So now we got to tow it. We have to do an inventory search of the car. And we do an inventory search of the car and there's a fucking brick. It was my first kilo off of a traffic stop. And we were very excited because we got everything. We got the intel. We hit the area. We found the dude, identified the car. We waited for him to do something stupid. He did something stupid. And then we got him. He tried to run, got about 2 feet. And then we found the dope, a whole kilo.
No shit. So what did you do to the original guy then? Did you let him go for giving you this info?
No. No, we did talk to the DA and we were like, hey, this guy's friend gave us some information. So like lower it. I think it was to like a violation level of like controlled substance. So instead of like getting hit with the felony, he got hit with like a misdemeanor, a low amount. And all he had to do was like drug court.
Okay, so that's not bad. All right, that's worth it.
Follow-up question. What happened to that kilo and is it available?
Yeah, do you have it on you still? And can you send it down here to Austin?
Additional story to that. So we submit it. We took it up to our narcotics unit, and before like the air, it was so pure they barely touched it, and like our indicators were like, "Bing, that's cocaine." So it was some pure shit, and he gets locked up, and because he was on probation for smuggling, like he was already caught, he was on probation for smuggling. We were like, "Oh, sweet, there's going to be a detainer on him. He's not going anywhere. He's staying in county lockup until this is over with." The feds took him. And for a month, we were like going up to the DA's office and we're like, hey, what's going on with this case? Like, you keep bringing us in to like talk about it, which is cool. It's fine. But like, what happened to the dude? Where's the dude? And the DA's like, we have no idea. The feds took him. And it's been a month and they haven't returned him yet. So that guy was flipping and definitely giving the feds some cartel info.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah. That's,
Again, though, what happened to that cocaine?
Yeah, you never really answered that question.
Well,
Yeah,
it
Rich.
was about half a kilo that we found. So
what happened to the other quarter?
Right.
well, so we turned in the quarter of the kilo that we got out of the car.
Obviously. And then there's still some that sounds like it was missing there.
I don't know.
Where did that
No,
go?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's not a mathematician.
No, and I'm not expecting that out of you today, Rich. I'm not going to have you do any math, obviously.
Yeah. So we took those several 8 balls and we turned them in to county, made sure that they were, appropriately listed.
It keeps going lower. Yeah, man. So I turned in that half a gram and just kind of bounced after that.
Yeah.
Just waited
So
and
I
hoped for
turned
the
it
best.
as marijuana, which was the only thing that we got out of that car. And we went on with our day. Energized and ready to go.
Oh, God damn it. I love when you're on the show, man. It's always fun. It's always fun. Now's the point of the show. We get to the Drinkin Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. And obviously, you've been here and you've given this away before. Is there somebody in this case you want to thank in the Buffalo case? Or anybody who helped you or, bring this story to
gotta be
light?
Nick, the fat electrician.
Okay.
He tore his bicep and he's been going ham. He has a binder. He created like a 2-inch binder and it's almost filled with information and stories. He's done interviews with people from the Buffalo school system. Like I said, EMTs, first responders, teachers, principals, like interviews, hour-long interviews that we're going to be putting together and putting out as like our third video about this as an update. And he's just been incredible. His drive is insane.
That's awesome. And he's out of what, Colorado, I believe?
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah,
No
which
shit.
is not even a fucking real place.
I was going to say, man, Iowa doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist. So that's
Not if
probably
you don't think about it.
Yeah. Well,
very true.
I try not to.
Yeah, I try not to, too.
We've got another Drinkin Bro of the week.
Which one?
It's Delco's birthday today.
Is it really our producer's
Yeah,
birthday?
he tried to fly under the radar like a little bitch.
Wow. What number is this? 34, 35?
34. Outlive
34.
Jesus. What's
Yeah.
up? Taste it, Christ.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Christ is
that's a
tasting
Catholic right there with an American Pope telling Jesus that he's not quite good enough.
It says taste it.
Yeah.
Taste it. So I like that a lot. We're telling Jesus to taste it. Happy birthday, Delco. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
I'm with you, though. I don't really share my birthday either. I'm just like, all right, cool, man. It's another day. And I got to work today, so no big
That
deal.
happens after you turn 50.
I do say
doesn't. I'm 33.
Rich kind of looks like me without hair.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. If you shaved up that beard a little bit.
Hard to tell. Both
Yeah.
of you get your dicks out. Let's see how it looks.
Yeah, we'll kind of go side by side there on another channel. We'll do that on Patreon.
'Cause I
maybe.
believe yours has a mullet, Delco, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard down there. You got to shave up. You got to use that Manscaped. Rich, man, proud of you, man, for real. This was a massive story, massive implications. You went for it, and we need more people out there in the world like you, man, for real. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at Angry Cops on social media, whether it be YouTube or X. And you can always check it out, all my stuff uncensored and extended on Pepperbox with all of us cool YouTubers that, would eventually probably go the way of the dinosaur if YouTube had its way with us.
Oh, boy. Would they ever, man? Holy shit. And I think they want it, too,
They
Who's
want it.
controlling that bullshit at YouTube? Who is it?
Hippies. It's fucking sad hippies that think they're going to do something with their life, but all they can do is just tell people, no, you're not in the club.
Is that really what it is? Because we've had internal meetings about it for years and finally just gave up. I was just like, look, after being on
Yeah.
there for 10 years, we're not changing this bullshit,
It's sad, pathetic little nerds that are trying to mold the world into what they want it to be, like any other, not egalitarian, but like any other dictator has tried to do in the past. But they're better because they know what we need, and they're smarter than us. That's all that YouTube is people who think that they're so smart they should run the world and tell people what they should hear and think. And then when people with common sense who have done something with their lives, like you guys and myself, then they're like, that can't possibly be true. And they poo-poo it and shove it off like we're some sort of dumb orangutans.
God damn it, I knew it, dude. That's what I always figured. But you can't see them. We were able to pay somebody off behind the scenes to get answers one day. And they said there was 12 different blocks on our channel over the years. And I was like, I fucking knew it. But you can find them and pay them Bitcoin behind the scenes into a private account to get the answers at least.
Yeah.
Now, did they change the channel? No. But or take the blocks off? No, they didn't. But at least we had the answers, and I was just like, okay, cool. And that's who I always thought it was, but you can confirm that. That's real. Just people who
that's
are
very real.
Okay.
Yeah, people without shoulders should never be in charge of anything,
Well,
right?
And-
Like if your shoulders slope down like this instead of going out and up, then you shouldn't be in charge of anything in your entire life.
unless you have a disease or something, obviously.
No,
Yeah.
that's genetic weakness.
Floppy shoulder syndrome is really attacking our nation.
It is.
It's at our weakest point right now. So.
FLSS. It's a real disease.
Oh, it is really
It's a lot more
crippling
real
a
than
lot of
Iowa.
people. Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. Appreciate you tuning in, kids. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. For Rich High, a.k.a. Angry Cops, D'Anthony Hollaway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin Bros podcast.